up, we have Tony Thompson, who was born in central Iowa, grew up on a farm. Then farm life turned into country living when his family quit the farm, and he went off to change the world by working with organizations like Habitat for Humanity and the Natural Step. He recently completed his PhD in Sweden. If you guys were here the last time, you would have heard some of those stories. And from 6 years of, let's see, hold on, sorry. Yes.
Way too long of an intro.
It is. I'm sorry. It is. I can't see it either. All right. This summer, though, let's focus at the thing at hand. He joined a program here in Iowa for aspiring farmers, and he is here tonight to share with us those summer's adventures. Please let's give Tony a big round of applause.
All right, so I grew up on a farm about 25 miles northeast of here, and here is an aerial photo of that farm taken in the early 1980s. So some of my earliest memories are of growing up on this farm and riding with my dad in the tractor while he's cultivating soybeans. Like all Iowa farm children, or many of the Iowa farm children, I went off in pursuit of a better life. So I went to Sweden. There, I got a PhD in sustainable product innovation and learned many, many other things. But I realized that I still didn't know much about farming. So this summer, I came back to Iowa and joined a program called the Farming Institute. And the Farming Institute is put on by 3 people. Susan Utes, who is a 17-year veteran vegetable farmer, Dick Schwab, who is a serial entrepreneur, and Kate Edwards, who is a beginning farmer in her 3rd year of growing vegetables. So through this program, I learned all kinds of interesting things, like pest management in organic vegetable production. And we did field walks and spending time out and about and just learning how the organic vegetable movement in Iowa is working. We also spent some time in classrooms. And in the classrooms, we learned things like HR management. This is our classroom, so this is one of Dick Schwab's barns. So it served as our classroom. It also serves as Kate's packing shed. It's a place that we've prepared lunches, and it's an occasional wedding venue. So that farm, or that barn, is where we spent a lot of time. Put the barn back in the, talking about lunches, one of the things that we did was we ate a lot of fresh food. So yes, we're there together to learn about farming, but we're also learning about food. So all of the food that we ate all summer was produced on these 2 vegetable farms that we were working at. So you walk out to the field, you harvest what you want for lunch, and then you go cook it in the barn. There we put the barn back in the background. This is actually Kate's farm, so it's Wildwood's farm over near Solon, near Iowa City. And what you notice that this farm is actually about 2 acres, so contrast that with the 2,000 acres or more that most Iowa corn and soybean farmers have. Kate farms 2 acres. That allows you to do things like put up an 8-foot deer fence around the whole thing. Here on the left side you see Susan's farm, so Susan's got a few more acres than Kate, but you contrast that with the traditional or the conventional corn and soybean farm on the right side, and you see some differences. One of the big differences is what is grown. So at Susan's farm you see things like tomatoes and carrots and Swiss chard and zucchini and cabbage and green beans and peppers and a couple of dozen other things. There's over 30 vegetable crops that Kate and Susan produce. And because you produce things in different ways, that means that you need to market them in different ways. So instead of taking them to the market, loading them up on trucks or trains and delivering them to Chicago, you direct market them. So it'd be very hard to sell this small quantity of things to Walmart or some other big provider. Instead, we use what we call a CSA, Community Supported Agriculture. I hope that you're familiar with that term. CSAs provide weekly boxes of food to their customers. Fresh produce throughout the summer. It takes a lot of hard work to fill these containers every week with fresh produce for up to 100 CSA customers. So there's a lot of hard work happening on these vegetable farms. I want to, one of the things that I learned this summer was how much the farmers enjoy delivering that fresh produce. They get an incredible amount of satisfaction from growing things in environmentally friendly ways, paying attention to how the soil is grown, but also the customers love coming and picking up this fresh produce because they feel good about what they're going to eat and supporting the local farms that make it happen. One of the attractive things for me about the CSA model is that it helps people connect with the seasonality of the food that they eat. So in the top left here, you see a late June box. This is what would have been delivered in one of the CSA boxes in late June. And contrast that with the lower right, which was an August delivery. Again, I mentioned that it's a lot of work. Here's an example of how much work it is. Every single seed is put into these soil blocks. So these little 1.5 by 1.5 soil blocks in order to get high germination rates. Those grow for 3 or 4 weeks in good conditions, and they get lots of love and lots of water. And then they're transplanted out into the field. Again, a lot of work. So there's so much manual labor that goes into this, but the CSA model allows the farmers who work their tails off to earn a substantial, a comfortable, a viable living. The other things that I saw this summer, just the connection to the land, the joy and the satisfaction that come from hard work, the cooperation, the collaboration. These are some of the values that I want to bring back as I put together my business plan for what I want to do with my family farm 25 miles northeast of here. Part of what I want to do is take the best of the old. This is an Alice Chalmers 1950 G tractor for cultivating that I just bought. So I want to take the best of the old and combine that with some of the emerging technologies that allow us to do things now that weren't possible in past generations. Plastic is one of those things that comes up a lot in organic vegetable farming. It's not one of the most attractive things from a sustainability perspective, but I hope that one day we can transcend the trade-offs involved with plastic. Here you see a high tunnel and talking about what plastic is allowed in irrigation and these kinds of things. What I hope that can happen as we continue to talk about sustainable agriculture in Iowa, we talk about the Farm Bill, we talk about water quality. At the end of the day, what I hope we can do is to talk more about the food that we eat, where it comes from, who produces it, and how we enjoy it. These are my nephews enjoying their food. And hopefully in that connection, people can become more connected to some of the broader sustainability challenges that we as a society are facing. Bringing it all back to the beginning, this is me riding off into the sunset on the tractor, the same model tractor that my father grew up plowing in the 40s and 50s.